The stars stretched endlessly across the black sky of the Andromeda sector, a tapestry of distant suns and silent worlds. A small human starship, the Horizon, glided through the void, its hull glowing softly under the light of nearby nebulae. Captain Alara Dane sat in the bridge, her hands resting lightly on the control panel. She was calm, though her mind was alert, analyzing the incoming reports from nearby space stations and alien patrols. Humans had traveled far, farther than any human before her, and every moment carried both danger and wonder. Her crew moved with quiet efficiency. Engineer Micah adjusted the ship's thrusters, ensuring that the delicate engines maintained maximum efficiency. Navigator Lyra plotted the route ahead, her fingers tracing the path through clusters of asteroids and magnetic storms. The humans worked together smoothly, each understanding the others without much need for words. It was a simplicity and coordination that the alien races of the sector often underestimated. The Horizon approached the neutral space station known as Zerith 7, a hub for trade and diplomacy among multiple species. As they docked, Ilara could feel the attention of unseen eyes on her crew. The station's monitors flickered to life, revealing sleek, multi-limbed aliens, the Valari, observing the humans with precise curiosity. The Valari were known for their intelligence, advanced technology, and calm superiority. They had never been impressed by any species, until now. The humans stepped onto the station, cautious but confident. They moved with purpose, studying the technology around them, taking careful notes and asking questions with polite curiosity. The Valari watched, their many eyes narrowing. The humans were small, weak compared to their powerful, polished forms, yet there was a spark in their behavior that made the Valari uneasy. Captain Dane spoke to the Valari leader, a tall figure named Oren Tal, whose voice resonated with authority. "We come in peace," she said simply. "We want to learn, to exchange knowledge, and to explore. We have no intention of conflict." Oren Tal's voice was smooth, almost melodic. "Peace is rare among your species," he said. "We have observed humans before. You seem fragile, chaotic, unpredictable. Tell me, why should we allow you to walk freely among our stations?" Ilara smiled faintly, sensing the challenge in his words. "Because we learn fast," she said. "Because we adapt. Because sometimes the unexpected can lead to solutions even the most advanced cannot see." The Valari exchanged quiet murmurs. They had never heard such confidence without arrogance. They dismissed her words as mere bravado. Still, they could not ignore the humans' calm assurance. Something about them hinted at a hidden strength, one that even the Valari could not fully understand. As the humans explored the station, they encountered problems that tested their skills. One of the docking conduits began to malfunction, a result of a minor electrical surge in the station's systems. While the Valari technicians hesitated, debating protocols, Engineer Micah moved quickly. With basic tools, he improvised a temporary bypass, stabilizing the system long enough for the station to operate normally again. The Valari watched in silent disbelief. They were used to seeing species struggle, fail, or panic under pressure. But these humans worked together calmly, solving problems with creativity and courage. Captain Dane's crew did not rush blindly. They observed, thought, and acted. Every small victory built on another. Later, Ilara walked through the station corridors with her crew. They passed areas filled with Valari scholars studying advanced energy flows, navigational algorithms, and quantum communications. The humans paused only briefly, yet their questions were sharp, precise, and insightful. They noticed patterns, understood implications, and sometimes proposed ideas the Valari had never considered. Back on the bridge of the Horizon, Ilara spoke quietly to her crew. "They're watching us closely. Let them watch. We're not here to prove ourselves. We're here to explore and learn, but we cannot underestimate what we are capable of either. Remember, humans have a way of surprising those who judge us too quickly." The crew nodded. There was a quiet confidence among them. Not arrogance, but a steady knowledge that humans were more than they appeared. Even when surrounded by advanced civilizations, they could adapt, innovate, and endure. It was a resilience that often went unnoticed, even by themselves. As night fell across the station, the Horizon rested quietly in its docking bay. Outside, the stars sparkled like distant diamonds, a reminder of the vast unknown waiting beyond. The humans were small and fragile in the eyes of the Valari, Yet within them was a strength that could not be measured by size or firepower. Somewhere among the Valari observers, doubt began to grow. If humans could handle even these small challenges with calm skill, what might they accomplish when truly pushed to their limits? Captain Alara Dane did not yet know the full answer. But one thing was clear: humans were capable of far more than most beings realized. And in the vast reaches of space, that quiet, unassuming strength would soon become impossible to ignore. The human starship Horizon moved cautiously through Valari-controlled space. Captain Alara Dane's crew were aware of the risks. They had been warned by Valari patrols and monitored by alien eyes for weeks. Yet the humans carried on with calm determination. They were explorers, not conquerors, and their curiosity drove them forward even in the face of danger. Micah, the ship's young engineer, adjusted the thrusters while checking the energy outputs. "Captain, we're entering a sector with higher patrol activity," he said, pointing at the glowing holographic map. "Valari fleets operate here daily. They might notice us," Alara nodded. "We're careful, but we can't stop exploring. Keep the engines steady and sensors active. Let's see what they do." As they navigated the asteroid field marking the edge of Valari space, the fleet appeared. Sleek silver ships moved with precision, surrounding the horizon. Their formation was flawless, designed to intimidate and prevent escape. The Valari fleet commanders were confident. The humans were tiny, fragile beings. A single command could disable them. "Open a channel," Alara ordered. Her voice was calm but firm. "Let's talk before this becomes messy." The Valari commander's face appeared on the screen, his many eyes narrowing. "Humans," he said, "you are trespassing in controlled space. Surrender and submit to inspection or face immediate consequences." Alara leaned forward. "We have no hostile intentions. We only wish to explore and learn. We are unarmed and will comply peacefully if you allow us safe passage." There was a pause, almost imperceptible, before the Valari commander responded. "Peace is your claim. Strength is what proves it. Let us see if your species is wise enough to survive beyond your borders." Before Alara could respond, a warning signal flashed. The Valari fleet had begun maneuvering to encircle them. It was a trap, a test. Yet the humans did not panic. "Micah, initiate evasive patterns," Alara ordered. "Lyra, plot alternate routes. Everyone, stay alert." The horizon shuddered as the first Valari ships moved to block them. Humans, by appearance, seemed small and weak, but their advantage was unpredictability. Instead of following the expected paths, the crew used the asteroid field to hide, weaving through rocks at speeds calculated by instinct and experience. Valari analysts watched in confusion. The humans acted without fear, their movements erratic yet effective. They improvised constantly, responding to every adjustment the Valari fleet made. One ship would move left, another would dive behind an asteroid, then reappear in an unexpected position. The humans were like flowing water, impossible to trap. In the engine room, Micah worked feverishly. "Captain, if I reroute power to the lateral thrusters, we can slip through their outer blockade." "Do it," Alara said. "We take calculated risks, not reckless ones." The ship shivered as energy flowed to the new systems. The horizon darted forward, narrowly avoiding collisions. Valari sensors tried to track them, but the humans' movement pattern was unlike anything they had seen. It was chaotic yet coordinated. One Valari ship moved in for a direct intercept. Micah had another idea. He activated a temporary signal burst that interfered with the Valari communication network. For a few critical minutes, the fleet could not coordinate. The humans seized the moment, slipping past the blockade and into uncharted territory. On the bridge, Alara allowed herself a brief smile. "They don't understand us yet, and they don't realize humans do not always act as expected. That is our strength." The Valari commander, meanwhile, was growing anxious. "How can they move with such efficiency? They are weak and small, yet they evade us as if they know our every move." As the humans exited Valari-controlled space, they did not celebrate recklessly. They knew the fleet would report their escape. Humans were small, but their courage and ingenuity had allowed them to survive. Every crew member had played a part. Trust, quick thinking, and calm decisions in moments of extreme pressure. Lyra turned to Captain Dane. "They'll be preparing for our next encounter. They won't forget this." "I know," Alara replied. "And we won't either. Humans adapt, learn, and find ways to survive. That is what makes us dangerous to those who underestimate us." The stars outside glimmered, vast and endless. For the first time, the Valari realized that humans were not just another species to monitor. They were unpredictable, resourceful, and resilient. Every mistake they had expected the humans to make had been met with innovation. Every pressure point had been countered with quick thinking. Alara gazed at the horizon, her mind on the mission ahead. They had survived their first encounter with the Valari fleet. But the galaxy was large, full of challenges and full of species that underestimated humanity. That underestimation was humanity's secret weapon. Even the humans themselves barely understood their own strength. They adapted to threats instinctively, thinking quickly under pressure and working together without hesitation. Their small bodies and unassuming forms hid a core of resilience and creativity unlike any other species in the sector. Somewhere deep in Valari command, analysts began recording their findings. Humans were dangerous. Humans were unpredictable. And most importantly, humans were just beginning to show the galaxy what they were capable of. Captain Dane did not boast. She only prepared for the next steps. Exploration, diplomacy, and survival were the tasks at hand. But one truth was clear. Humans, even when outnumbered and underestimated, had the power to surprise those who thought they understood the universe. And in the darkness of space, that was the scariest thing about humans. The humans had barely returned to safe space when reports arrived from the Valari fleet. The aliens were organizing a controlled confrontation, a test designed to measure human strength and adaptability. The Valari expected to corner the humans, confident that their advanced tactics and overwhelming numbers would break the small crew. Captain Alara Dane gathered her crew on the bridge. "They want to see what we can do," she said calmly. "We are not reckless. We act with purpose. We use our strengths wisely and we trust each other. That is what humans do best." Navigator Lyra nodded. "They will expect us to panic or fight blindly. We will do neither." The humans boarded the horizon and entered the designated system. It was a vast planet with rocky terrain, deep canyons, and dense energy fields. The Valari had chosen the location carefully. It limited the humans' movement and gave the aliens full advantage. At least that was what they thought. The first Valari fleet ships appeared, sleek and numerous, forming a perfect blockade. Sensors lit up with energy readings, and the aliens broadcast a simple message: surrender or be neutralized. Alara's voice was calm, yet firm. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Use the environment. Observe, adapt, and strike only when necessary. Micah, I want shields optimized for rapid bursts. Lyra, track every energy fluctuation. Every detail counts." The horizon moved like water through the rocky terrain, its engines humming steadily. The Valari ships fired warning energy blasts, testing human reflexes. Humans dodged, twisted, and adapted in ways the Valari could not predict. Their movements were not programmed or mechanical. They were instinctive, creative, and flexible. One Valari ship tried a direct intercept. The humans anticipated a predictable path, but instead split their trajectory at the last second. Micah activated a makeshift energy pulse from the ship's systems, temporarily disrupting the Valari's targeting sensors. The alien ship faltered and drifted off course. Alara studied the battlefield on the holographic display. "They cannot predict humans," she said quietly. "They try, but humans do not follow fixed patterns. We improvise, we adapt, and we survive." The Valari commanders were frustrated. Their fleet, designed for absolute precision, struggled to understand the humans' tactics. Every move the humans made was unexpected but effective. Humans relied not on brute force but on teamwork, communication, and creative thinking. In the middle of the battle, a canyon narrowed to a jagged passage. The Valari thought they could trap the humans there, forcing a surrender. But the humans did not panic. Instead, they split their attention. Lyra directed small bursts of thrusters to maintain stability, while Micah rerouted power to enhance agility. Alara coordinated the crew, giving orders that balanced risk and advantage. The horizon slipped through the canyon as if the ship were alive, bending and twisting in perfect harmony with its crew. The Valari were stunned. How could such a small, fragile-looking species survive and even escape a carefully planned trap? Their advanced technology could not predict human ingenuity. Their calculations failed when humans acted without fear, without hesitation, and without rigid patterns. Captain Dane saw an opportunity. "We can't destroy them all," she said, "but we can show them what humans are capable of. Let's create a maneuver they will remember." She ordered the ship into a daring loop around an energy field. The Volari ships followed, expecting an easy capture. But the humans used the field to their advantage. Energy bursts reflected off the rocks, temporarily blinding sensors and disorienting the fleet. The humans moved like shadows, unpredictable and unstoppable. One by one, the Volari ships fell behind or drifted out of formation. They were not destroyed, but they were neutralized long enough for the humans to escape the immediate danger. The humans had turned the situation around, not by brute force but by thinking faster, moving smarter, and trusting one another completely. When the confrontation ended, the Volari fleet withdrew. The humans had survived intact. The Volari were quiet, recording every detail. For the first time, they realized that strength was not always measured by weapons or size. Humans, small and seemingly fragile, had a power that could not be measured: courage, creativity, and the ability to adapt under pressure. On the bridge of the horizon, Alara allowed herself a small smile. "We didn't just survive," she said. "We showed them what humans can do when they work together and trust themselves." Her crew shared quiet satisfaction. They had faced overwhelming odds and not only survived, they had outwitted a superior force. It was a lesson not just for the Volari, but for themselves as well. Humans were stronger than they often realized, and their strength came from their unity, their intelligence, and their willingness to act when others hesitated. Micah leaned back in his chair. "They'll think twice before testing us again," he said. Alara nodded. "Yes, but it's not about them. It's about knowing who we are. Humans are capable of more than we imagine, and the galaxy is about to learn that too." Outside, the stars shimmered, silent and endless. The humans had faced their first true test in Volari space and had survived, not by overpowering, but by understanding their own hidden strength. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and full of species that underestimated them. And that, as Alara knew, was humanity's greatest advantage. They did not yet fully realize how strong they could be. In the distance, the Volari fleet regrouped. They would plan, they would strategize, and they would attempt to challenge humans again. But one fact was undeniable. Humans were not to be dismissed, underestimated, or controlled. They were unpredictable, resourceful, and capable of feats no one could fully measure, and the humans themselves, though unaware of the full scope of their power, were only just beginning to understand the strength they carried. Within, the humans had survived their first confrontation with the Volari fleet, but Captain Alara Dane knew the challenge was far from over. The galaxy was full of advanced civilizations that underestimated humans, and the Volari were no exception. They were clever, disciplined, and confident in their superiority. Yet humans had one advantage that could never be calculated: their ability to learn, adapt, and act without fear. The horizon drifted near a quiet asteroid field, where the crew could safely analyze data from the recent encounter. Micah worked over the ship's sensors, replaying every movement of the Volari fleet, every energy burst, and every maneuver. "Captain," he said, eyes wide, "their technology is incredible, but it has patterns. They rely on precision and repetition. Humans don't follow patterns, we improvise. That's why we survived." Alara nodded. "Exactly. And it's not just improvisation, it's understanding the moment, trusting our instincts and working together. That is what makes humans dangerous when others underestimate them." Lyra leaned over her console, pointing to the Volari fleet data. "Their weapons are powerful, but they have blind spots. Their sensors can be tricked, their formations disrupted. If we plan carefully, we can avoid unnecessary conflict and still protect ourselves." Alara smiled. "We don't need to fight to prove our strength. We only need to show them that humans are unpredictable and resilient. That is already more than they expect." Over the next few days, the humans studied Volari tactics and technology. They observed how the aliens moved in formation, how they coordinated energy bursts, and how they reacted to obstacles. Every observation was shared among the crew. Humans thrived on collaboration. Each idea, no matter how small, became part of a larger strategy. One evening, as the horizon floated silently among distant stars, Micah spoke excitedly. "Captain, I think I've found a way to use their own systems against them. Not by destroying them, but by creating situations where their precision works against them. It's risky, but it could neutralize their advantage." Alara considered it carefully. Risky can be good. Humans thrive on calculated risks. But we must act with intelligence, not recklessness. Let's prepare and test this plan in simulation first. The crew spent hours running scenarios, refining tactics and adjusting strategies. Every crew member contributed. Lyra calculated trajectories, Micah optimized systems, and Alara coordinated decisions. The humans were not just surviving. They were learning, improving, and turning their understanding of the Valari into an advantage. Meanwhile, in Valari space, the alien leaders were becoming uneasy. The humans' escape from the last confrontation had left a strong impression. Reports described their creativity, their ability to adapt under pressure, and their teamwork. For the first time, the Valari recognized that humans could not be predicted or controlled easily. Orental, the Valari commander, gathered his council. "These humans, they are unlike any species we have faced," he said. "They are weak in size and strength, yet they survive and even escape our traps. We cannot calculate their actions. Their resilience is frightening." Back on the horizon, the humans did not dwell on fear or intimidation. They focused on their mission: exploration, understanding, and preparation. They simulated encounters, tested new strategies, and refined their instincts. Every challenge they anticipated strengthened them, and every observation built confidence. Days later, an opportunity arose. A Valari reconnaissance vessel approached cautiously, scanning the horizon. Instead of hiding, Alara decided to act. "We're not running," she said. "We'll show them we understand them better than they expect." Micah activated a series of energy pulses that mimicked disturbances in the asteroid field. The Valari sensors detected false signals, sending their ship into confusion. Lyra guided the horizon through the field with flawless timing. The humans executed maneuvers that appeared chaotic, but were carefully coordinated. The Valari ship, unable to predict their moves, drifted harmlessly off course. Ilara watched the display calmly. They are learning now. Humans are not just survivors, we are problem solvers, thinkers, and innovators. That is our strength. The Valari fleet observed these events remotely, beginning to realize the truth. Humans were more than just unpredictable. They were adaptive, intelligent, and capable of using ingenuity to turn threats into opportunities. Every attempt to control them only revealed more of their hidden abilities. Alara gathered her crew. "We are showing the galaxy who we are, not through force, but through action. Humans are strong not because of weapons or size, but because we think, adapt, and trust each other. That is our power." The stars outside sparkled silently, a vast reminder of the endless universe waiting for exploration. The humans, though small in appearance, carried within them a strength that even the most advanced civilizations could not fully measure. And the Valari, once confident in their superiority, now faced the unsettling truth. Humans were not merely a species to observe, they were a force to respect. A puzzle to understand and a presence that could shape the future. Captain Dane looked at her crew with quiet pride. "We don't yet know the limits of our strength," she said softly. "But every step we take, every challenge we face, brings us closer to discovering it. And the galaxy will see just how dangerous humans can be, without even trying to be." The crew nodded, silent but determined. They had faced danger, survived, and learned more about themselves than they ever had. Their journey was far from over, but one thing was certain. Humans were awakening to a power that few, even among the stars, could understand. And somewhere in Valari space, the realization spread. Humans were not only unpredictable, they were unstoppable once they began to understand their own strength. The stars stretched endlessly around the human starship horizon, a quiet reminder of how vast the galaxy truly was. Captain Alara Dane and her crew had survived Valari tests, navigated dangerous space, and learned more about themselves than anyone had imagined. Yet the greatest challenge lay not in survival, but in proving what humanity was truly capable of. Reports from Valari space reached the humans, intelligence that they could use, carefully studied. The Valari were preparing a larger fleet, intending to assert control over the humans. But Alara and her crew were no longer the same explorers who had first docked at Zerith 7. They had grown stronger, smarter, and more confident. "We've learned everything we can about their tactics," Lyra said, studying a holographic map of the approaching fleet. "They are predictable in some ways, but they cannot anticipate human improvisation. We can turn their strength into weakness," Alara nodded. "Humans survive because we adapt. We are resourceful and we trust one another. That is what makes us formidable. This is not about fighting, it's about showing who we are. That alone can change everything. As the Valari fleet entered the system, their ships glinting like silver arrows in the starfield, the humans prepared. Micah worked quickly in the engine room, optimizing the Horizon's energy systems to allow for unprecedented maneuverability. Every crew member took their position, calm but alert. Humans did not rely on fear. They relied on intelligence, creativity, and coordination. The first Valari ships moved to encircle the Horizon, expecting to intimidate and trap them. Energy weapons charged, sensors scanned, and communication arrays buzzed with calculated commands. Yet humans did not act predictably. Instead, Ilara gave precise, flexible orders that exploited the terrain and the Valari's reliance on strict formation. The Horizon darted through asteroid belts and narrow canyons, weaving and twisting in ways that no Valari ship could anticipate. Micah triggered controlled energy pulses that disrupted sensors. Lyra guided the ship through paths that seemed random, but were perfectly coordinated with the human crew's intentions. Every movement was synchronized, every action calculated yet instinctive. The Valari were stunned. For the first time, they faced a species whose strength was not just in survival, but in ingenuity. Humans were not machines following algorithms. Humans adapted, learned, and created solutions in real time. The Valari fleet tried to regain control, but their rigid formations could not compete with unpredictable human strategy. Ilara watched the battle unfold on the display. "They think strength is size, power, or numbers," she said softly. "But true strength comes from intelligence, unity, and courage. And humans have all three." One Valari commander tried to flank the Horizon using a well-planned maneuver. The humans anticipated the move, not through sensors or calculations, but through intuition, teamwork, and experience. Lyra guided the ship through a narrow gap in the asteroid field, while Micah redirected power to shield the flank, and Ilara coordinated the timing with perfect precision. The Valari ship overshot its target and had to retreat. Across the galaxy, the Valari leaders convened in emergency councils. They had underestimated humans, and now the truth was undeniable. The humans were more than survivors, they were innovators, thinkers, and unshakable in the face of danger. Their strength lay not in firepower, but in their ability to understand, adapt, and act together. Back on the Horizon, the humans did not celebrate victory with arrogance. They simply continued their mission, exploring and learning, aware that their true power came from what they had discovered within themselves. Every crew member had played a part: trust, courage, intelligence, and creativity. Captain Dane looked out the window at the stars. "We are only beginning to understand ourselves," she said. "The galaxy may not realize our potential yet, but we do. Humans are strong not because we dominate, but because we adapt, survive, and thrive, even when the odds are against us." As the Valari fleet withdrew, silently acknowledging their limits, a quiet realization spread through their ranks. Humans were not merely another species, they were a force to respect. Their unpredictability, resilience, and ingenuity made them a challenge no advanced civilization could ignore. For the humans, this was a turning point. They had survived, outwitted, and gained respect not through conquest but through action, intelligence, and courage. They had shown that even the smallest, seemingly weakest beings could shape events far beyond what others imagined. The crew gathered on the bridge. Lyra smiled softly. "They will remember this encounter, and so will others. Humans are starting to leave a mark in the galaxy." Ilara nodded, her eyes reflecting the endless stars. "Yes, and our mark is not destruction or fear. It is knowledge, courage, and unity. Humans are capable of far more than we even know. The galaxy has only just begun to see the scariest thing about us. We barely realize our own strength." And as the Horizon sailed into the unknown, the humans carried with them a quiet power, one that could not be measured by weapons, size, or numbers. Their strength lay within themselves, the courage to act, the intelligence to adapt, and the determination to survive. Somewhere in the vast galaxy, alien civilizations began to take notice. The humans were coming not as conquerors but as explorers, thinkers, and survivors, and that, as Captain Dane knew, was a power no one could ever fully anticipate. The Horizon moved forward, silently but confidently, Laimi Itio,